First contact's price. The Horizon drifted silently through the void, its experimental stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible against the backdrop of stars. Inside the cockpit, Captain Maya Chen ran her fingers over the control panel, monitoring the ship's systems with practiced precision. This was supposed to be a routine mission: chart the unexplored region on the outer rim of human space, collect data, and return to Earth. Simple, straightforward, exactly as planned. Until it wasn't. Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures at coordinates 227 to 43,891, Lieutenant Kai Rodriguez reported from the sensor station. Pattern doesn't match anything in our database. Maya frowned, her dark eyes narrowing as she studied the readout. How far? About half a light year, ma'am. Whatever it is, it's big. Really big. She considered her options. The Horizon wasn't built for combat. It was an explorer, a scientific vessel disguised as a military scout. Its true purpose was to test the experimental quantum drive and adaptive hull technology developed in secret by Earth's Defense Initiative. Only 12 people in the solar system knew the ship's actual capabilities. Set course for the anomaly, Lieutenant. Passive scans only. Let's see what we're dealing with before we announce ourselves. The Horizon's engines hummed as they shifted direction, barely a whisper compared to standard military drives. The ship's dark hull, laced with light-absorbing metamaterials, cut through space like a shadow. As they approached the coordinates, the anomaly resolved itself on their screens. A massive structure, geometric and precise, surrounded by ships unlike anything humans had encountered before. "My God," whispered Communications Officer Sarah West. "That's not a station. That's a fleet." Maya leaned forward, eyes widening as the sensors provided clearer data. The structure at the center was a jump gate at least 20 times larger than anything humans had built. Around it clustered hundreds of vessels, sleek, predatory designs with hulls that seemed to ripple with a metallic iridescence. The energy readings were off the charts. "Run a comparison with all known species in the database," Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the growing knot in her stomach. After a moment, the ship's eye responded, its synthetic voice calm and measured. "No matches found, Captain. This appears to be a previously unencountered spacefaring civilization." "First contact," Rodriguez breathed, a mixture of excitement and apprehension in his voice. "Maybe not the first," Maya replied, gesturing to the display. "Look at their formation. That's a military deployment, not an exploration fleet. And that jump gate, they're establishing infrastructure. This isn't a chance encounter. They've been heading toward human space deliberately." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had encountered other intelligent species before: the diplomatic but reclusive Arquelians, the nomadic drift collective, even the enigmatic myriad, who communicated primarily through mathematical equations. But all previous first contacts had been cautious, measured events preceded by years of signal exchanges and careful preparation. This was different. This was a force poised on the edge of human territory, armed and organized. "Should we hail them, Captain?" West asked, her hand hovering over the communications console. Maya shook her head. "Not yet. Continue observation. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with before." A sharp alarm cut through her words. On the tactical display, 3 of the alien vessels had broken formation, accelerating toward their position. "They've detected us," Rodriguez reported, his fingers flying over the controls. "How?" "Our stealth systems should be." "Doesn't matter now," Maya cut in. "Power up defenses, but hold weapons. Let's not start an interstellar incident if we can avoid it." The approaching vessels were smaller than the Horizon, but moved with startling speed and precision. As they drew closer, the sensors provided more detail, heavily armed with what appeared to be advanced targeting systems actively scanning their position. "They're hailing us," West announced. Maya nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered and an alien face appeared. Humanoid, but distinctly not human, silvery skin with a faint metallic sheen, eyes with vertical pupils set in orbital ridges that curved up toward a high-crested forehead. When it spoke, the ship's translation system struggled momentarily before producing words in stilted English. "Unidentified vessel. You have violated sovereign territory of the Vraxian Empire. Identify immediately, or face destruction." Maya straightened in her chair. "This is Captain Maya Chen of the Earth vessel Horizon. We are on a peaceful exploration mission and we're unaware of any territorial claims in this region. We apologize for any." Deception detected, the alien interrupted, its voice suddenly harsh. "Scan confirms military-grade technology. Surrender your vessel for inspection or be destroyed." Maya exchanged glances with her crew. This was escalating too quickly. With respect, she tried again. "This region has not been claimed by any recognized power under the Galactic Concordat. We have every right to. The Vraxian Empire recognizes no such agreement. Final warning: power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." On the tactical display, the three Vraxian ships had moved into attack formation, weapons systems powering up. Maya's mind raced. The Horizon carried classified technology that Earth couldn't afford to let fall into unknown hands. But engaging in combat could spark a war with a clearly advanced and expansionist civilization. There were no good options. Captain, Rodriguez prompted, tension evident in his voice. Maya made her decision. Decline their request. Plot an escape vector, maximum burn on my mark. We need to get this information back to Earth. West's hands trembled slightly as she opened the channel again. Vraxian vessel, we cannot comply with your demand. We will, however, withdraw from this region immediately to avoid. The translation cut off as the lead Vraxian ship fired. Pulse of energy that sizzled past the Horizon's port side, close enough to make the shields flare. That was a warning shot, Rodriguez confirmed. Maya's expression hardened. They'd made their intentions clear. Evasive maneuvers now. The Horizon surged forward, its engines flaring to life with a power that belied its modest appearance. The ship twisted and dove, narrowly avoiding the next volley of energy weapons from the pursuing Vraxian vessels. They're fast, Maya observed grimly as another shot grazed their shields. Kai, what's our status? Shields at 82% and holding. But we can't outrun them on conventional drives, Captain. They're gaining. Maya took a deep breath. Her orders were explicit. The experimental quantum drive was to be used only in emergency situations, and its existence was to be kept secret at all costs. But if they were captured or destroyed, the knowledge of this new threat would die with them. Initiate quantum drive, she ordered quietly. Rodriguez looked up, startled. Captain, protocols state. I know the protocols, Lieutenant, but Earth needs to know what's coming. Initiate the drive. After a moment's hesitation, Rodriguez nodded and began the complex sequence to activate the Horizon's most closely guarded secret. Vraxian vessels closing, West reported. They're charging what appears to be some kind of disruptor weapon. 30 seconds to quantum drive readiness, the ship's AI announced calmly. Maya watched the tactical display as the Vraxian ships closed the gap, their weapons blazing. The Horizon shuddered under their assault, shields weakening with each hit. Shields are 41%, Rodriguez called out. We can't take much more of this. 20 seconds to quantum drive readiness. Another hit rocked the ship, setting a shower of sparks cascading from an overhead conduit. They're targeting our engine section, West warned. I think they're trying to disable rather than destroy us. Which means they want the ship, Maya concluded grimly. Hold course. 10 seconds to quantum drive readiness. The lead Vraxian vessel fired again, a sustained beam that connected with the Horizon's shields and began to drill through them with terrifying efficiency. Shields failing. Rodriguez shouted over the blare of alarms. 5 seconds. 4, 3. Maya gripped her chair as the ship bucked violently, the shields collapsing under the Vraxian assault. 2, 1. Quantum drive ready. Engage, Maya commanded. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself appeared to fold around the Horizon. There was no sensation of acceleration, no thunderous roar of engines, just a silent, impossible transition as the stars stretched and blurred and the pursuing Vraxian ships vanished from the tactical display. The Horizon had disappeared from normal space, leaving only confused Vraxian commanders and the faint energy signature of a technology they had never encountered before. Inside the quantum bubble, Maya finally allowed herself to breathe. The ship was damaged but intact, and they were safe, for now. Status report, she requested, surveying the smoking consoles and flickering lights of the bridge. Hull integrity at 76%, Rodriguez responded, checking the systems. Engine core stable, but we've got power fluctuations throughout the ship. The quantum drive is performing better than expected, actually. We've already covered 3 light years and accelerating. Maya nodded slowly. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed the drive can safely maintain. As Rodriguez adjusted their course, Maya turned to West. Prepare a full report for Fleet Command. Priority Alpha. Include all sensor data on the Vraxian ships, their jump gate, and everything we observed before they detected us. West nodded grimly. You think this means war, don't you? Maya stared at the view screen, where the quantum-distorted stars streaked past like rain on glass. I think it means they've already decided on war. We just haven't realized it yet. In the silence that followed, the Horizon continued its impossible journey through folded space, carrying a warning that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. As they approached Earth 5 days later, Maya stood alone in the observation dome, watching as the familiar blue sphere grew larger in the viewport. The Horizon had pushed its experimental drive to limits never intended by its designers, the adaptive hull technology learning and evolving with each passing hour to better channel the quantum energies that propelled them home. She'd had time to think during the journey, to review the sensor logs and study the Vraxian technology they'd glimpsed. What she found had only deepened her concern. The aliens' weapons, their ships, even their jump gate technology, all of it suggested a civilization centuries beyond Earth's development. A civilization that had already marked human space for conquest. "Captain," Rodriguez's voice came through the intercom. "Fleet Command is hailing us. Admiral Zhao requests your immediate report." Maya took one last look at Earth, peaceful, vulnerable, unaware of the storm gathering at the edge of its territory. "Tell them we're coming in," she replied, turning toward the bridge. "And that we've got a hell of a story to tell." Behind her, the stars continued their silent vigil, bearing witness to the beginning of a conflict that would redefine the boundaries of possibility and reveal what humanity was truly capable of when pushed to the edge of extinction. The impossible defense. 3 months after the Horizon's return, Earth was at war. Maya Chen stood in the observation deck of the orbital defense station Aegis, watching as another damaged human vessel limped into the repair docks. The ship, once a proud cruiser in Earth's interstellar fleet, was barely recognizable, its hull torn open in multiple places, atmosphere venting from sealed compartments like spectral breath in the vacuum. "That's the third one today," Admiral Zhou said quietly from beside her. The older man's face was lined with fatigue, his normally immaculate uniform wrinkled from too many consecutive shifts. "The Minerva managed to evacuate most of her crew before the reactor went critical, but we lost the captain and half the bridge officers." Maya nodded silently. The losses had been staggering. After her warning, Earth had mobilized its fleets, established defensive perimeters, and prepared for the coming storm. But nothing had prepared them for the reality of Vraxian warfare. The aliens had struck without warning or declaration, their forces emerging from jump points throughout human space. Colony worlds fell in days. Outposts went dark without sending distress calls. Earth's fleets, though valiant, found themselves outmatched by Vraxian technology and tactics. "The Security Council is meeting in an hour," Joe continued, turning away from the grim spectacle. "They want to hear your proposal directly." Maya's hand unconsciously moved to the data crystal hanging from a chain around her neck, the sum total of the Horizon's findings enhanced by 3 months of intensive analysis. "They're finally ready to listen. They're finally desperate enough to try anything," Joe corrected her. "Even the Phoenix Project." The Phoenix Project. Maya still remembered the day she first proposed it, standing before skeptical admirals and civilian leaders who couldn't grasp the magnitude of what the Horizon had discovered during its encounter with the Vraxians. The ship hadn't just escaped, it had evolved. The experimental adaptive hull technology designed to incrementally improve performance based on environmental feedback had undergone a quantum leap when exposed to Vraxian weapons fire. The ship's eye had somehow integrated the alien energy signatures, learning from them, and reconfigured the hull matrix in response. By the time they returned to Earth, the Horizon was no longer just a ship. It had become something new, a hybrid of human engineering and alien-inspired adaptations that defied conventional physics. Maya had argued that this accidental breakthrough was their only hope against the vastly superior Vraxian technology. Instead of trying to match the aliens' firepower with conventional designs, they needed to build ships that could learn and evolve during battle itself. The Admiralty had dismissed her ideas as fantasy, until the first Vraxian fleets appeared at the edge of the solar system and humanity's best defenses crumbled like paper. Now, 3 months and countless casualties later, the Phoenix Project was humanity's last desperate gamble. "The prototype vessels are ready," Maya said, falling into step beside Zhao as they headed toward the station's central lift. "How many did they approve?" 3, Zhao replied. "The Horizon, plus 2 new constructs based on your specifications. It's all the resources they could spare. 3 ships against a Vraxian armada. The odds were beyond impossible. But then the Horizon had already done the impossible once. And my crew request." Zhao nodded. "Approved. Lieutenant Rodriguez and Officer West have been transferred to your command. The rest are volunteers from the Academy, brilliant minds, but no combat experience." "Experience won't matter with these ships," Maya said. "What matters is adaptability, the willingness to let the ship lead when necessary." The lift doors opened onto a bustling command center, where analysts monitored the movements of the Vraxian fleet. The massive display dominating the far wall showed what everyone already knew. The main Vraxian battle group had pushed past the outer system defenses and was moving inexorably toward Earth. As they crossed the command center, conversations hushed. Maya felt the weight of desperate hope in the eyes that followed her. The Phoenix Project wasn't just classified anymore, it had become the whispered legend, humanity's last chance. Commander Lee, head of tactical operations, intercepted them before they reached the briefing room. "Admiral, Captain, you need to see this." He gestured to a nearby console where a transmission was being decoded. "Source?" Joe asked, leaning over the display. "The Vraxian flagship," Lee responded grimly. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. It's a message for Earth. The screen flickered, and the now familiar face of a Vraxian commander appeared. Unlike the first contact with the patrol ships, this Vraxian wore elaborate armor and bore markings that Maya recognized from intelligence briefings as indicating high rank. "People of Earth," the alien began, its translated voice eerily calm. "I am Supreme Commander Krex of the Vraxian Dominion. Your defenses have failed. Your fleets lie broken. Your colonies burn. This was inevitable." Maya felt a chill at the casual confidence in the alien's tone. "The Vraxian Dominion has existed for 10,000 of your years. We have conquered 17 spacefaring civilizations and incorporated their strengths into our own. You're merely the latest." The camera pulled back, revealing what appeared to be a massive chamber filled with artifacts, remnants of alien technologies displayed like trophies. "We offer you one opportunity for survival. Surrender. Open your world to us. Submit to integration. Those who resist will be eliminated. Those who serve will be permitted to exist under our guidance." Commander Krex leaned closer to the camera, vertical pupils contracting to thin slits. "You have observed our power. You know we cannot win. You have 20 of your Earth hours to transmit your surrender. After that, we will commence final operations against your homeworld." The transmission cut off, leaving the command center in stunned silence. "Integration," Ju muttered darkly. "Enslavement more likely." Maya's mind was racing, analyzing the message not for its ultimatum, but for what it revealed about their enemy. "Did you see the trophy room? Those weren't just artifacts. They were technological components. Weapons, drive systems, power cores." Lee nodded slowly. "I noticed that too. Almost like a museum of conquered technologies," Maya finished. "The commander said they've incorporated the strengths of 17 civilizations. They don't just conquer, they assimilate. They take what works and add it to their arsenal." Zhao's eyes narrowed. "Which means every race they've defeated has made them stronger. And every technology they encounter becomes part of their toolkit," Maya added, a plan taking shape in her mind. "Admiral, I need to address the Security Council immediately. I think I know how we can use this against them." An hour later, Maya stood before Earth's Security Council, 6 grim-faced leaders representing the planet's major powers. The chamber, deep beneath Geneva, had been designed to withstand even orbital bombardment, but the fear in the room was palpable nonetheless. "The Vraxian ultimatum expires in 19 hours. The council chairman began without preamble. "Admiral Zhu tells us you have a strategy that might work where conventional military options have failed." Maya activated the holographic display in the center of the chamber. The image of the horizon appeared, but not as it had originally been designed. This version showed the modifications that had occurred during and after its encounter with the Vraxian ships: organic-looking protrusions along the hull, reconfigured weapon mounts, and an energy signature that pulsed with unfamiliar patterns. "This is the horizon as it exists today," she explained. "When it encountered Vraxian weapons, the adaptive hull technology did something unexpected. It learned. Not just passively recording data, but actively evolving in response to the threat." She gestured, and the display changed to show 2 additional vessels of similar but distinct design. "These are Phoenix 1 and Phoenix 2, constructed based on what we learned from the horizon. They're not just ships, they're adaptive systems designed to evolve in combat." One of the counselors leaned forward. "You're proposing to defend Earth with 3 experimental vessels against a Vraxian armada? Even if these ships are as remarkable as you claim, the numbers don't matter," Maya interrupted. "Not if we understand what we're really facing. The Vraxians don't just rely on superior firepower, they rely on technological superiority. They expect to encounter weapons and defenses they already understand." She activated another display showing the analysis of Vraxian battle tactics compiled over the past 3 months. Their entire strategy depends on this assumption. They probe, identify the opponent's technology level, and then deploy appropriate countermeasures from their arsenal of assimilated technologies. "And how does this help us?" another counselor asked skeptically. "Because the Phoenix vessels don't have a fixed technology level," Maya explained, intensity in her voice. "They adapt and evolve during combat itself. Every time the Vraxians think they've identified our capabilities, those capabilities will change." Admiral Zhao stepped forward. "Captain Chen's proposal is to engage the Vraxian fleet directly, not to defeat them through conventional warfare, but to confuse their tactical systems with technology they can't categorize or predict. And while they're trying to analyze what they're facing," Maya continued, "we target their command structure. Not their entire fleet, just the flagship, the brain coordinating their assault." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. It was a desperate plan relying on untested technology and a psychological assessment of an alien enemy they barely understood. But facing extinction, desperation was all they had left. "How soon can you deploy?" the chairman finally asked. "Immediately," Maya replied. "The Phoenix ships are ready. My crews are standing by." The chairman exchanged glances with the other counselors, a silent vote passing between them. "Very well, Captain Chen. You have authorization to proceed with Operation Phoenix." He paused, the weight of billions of lives evident in his next words. "May God help us all." 6 hours later, Maya sat in the command chair of the Horizon, now redesignated Phoenix Zero. The ship hummed around her with an energy that felt almost alive, the adaptive systems pulsing with anticipation of what was to come. On the bridge, her crew worked with quiet efficiency. Rodriguez at Tactical, West handling communications, and 4 Academy graduates manning the stations that would monitor the ship's evolutionary processes during combat. Through the viewport, Maya could see the other 2 Phoenix vessels moving into formation, their hulls gleaming with the same iridescent sheen that had developed on the Horizon after its encounter with Vraxian weapons. "All systems ready, Captain," Rodriguez reported, his voice steady despite the enormity of what they were about to attempt. "Phoenix 1 and 2 are in position and awaiting your command." Maya opened a channel to both ships. "This is Captain Chen. You all know what we're facing and what's at stake. The Vraxians expect us to either surrender or mount a conventional defense. They've seen that strategy 17 times before, and they've defeated it every time." She paused, looking at the determined faces on her screens. "But they've never encountered anything like the Phoenix ships. They've never faced technology that evolves faster than they can analyze it. Today, we show them something new." She closed the channel and turned to West. "Send a message to Admiral Zhu. Operation Phoenix is commencing." As the 3 ships accelerated away from Earth, Maya watched the tactical display where the massive Vraxian fleet waited beyond the orbit of Mars. Hundreds of vessels arranged in their precise, predatory formation around the imposing bulk of their flagship. "They're scanning us," Rodriguez reported as they approached detection range. "Standard Vraxian reconnaissance pattern." Maya nodded. "Let them look. Activate adaptive protocols." Throughout all 3 Phoenix vessels, the revolutionary systems came fully online. Unlike conventional ships with fixed capabilities, the Phoenix-class hulls began to shift and reconfigure, microscopic machines and quantum-entangled materials responding to the Vraxian scans by subtly changing their own signatures. "Vraxian fleet is adjusting formation," West announced. "They're moving intercept vessels to our approach vector." A small smile touched Maya's lips. They've taken the bait. They're curious. She opened the tactical channel. "All Phoenix vessels, execute Phase 1. The 3 ships accelerated suddenly, their engines flaring with energy signatures that shifted and changed even as the Vraxian sensors tried to analyze them. It was like trying to photograph a chameleon that changed colors between each frame. As the first Vraxian interceptors moved to engage, Maya braced herself. Everything now depended on whether her theory was correct, whether the Phoenix ships could evolve fast enough to confuse the Vraxian tactical systems long enough to reach their true target. The battle for Earth had begun, and with it, humanity's last stand against an enemy that had never known defeat. Humanity's answer. The first shots of the battle illuminated the darkness of space like artificial lightning. Vraxian interceptors unleashed a barrage of energy weapons, coherent beams of superheated plasma that had shredded Earth's conventional warships in previous engagements. But this time, something unexpected happened. As the energy weapons struck the Phoenix vessels, their adaptive hulls didn't just resist the assault. They absorbed it, the microscopic structures reconfiguring a channel rather than deflect the incoming energy. Each ship's surface rippled like liquid metal, glowing with captured power. On the Horizon's bridge, Maya watched the tactical display with intense focus. "Energy absorption at 87% efficiency and climbing," reported one of the Academy graduates, a young woman named Patil whose expertise was in quantum field theory. "The adaptive systems are learning with each hit." "Vraxian vessels are adjusting their attack pattern," Rodriguez added. "They're switching to kinetic weapons." Maya nodded. "Just as expected. Phoenix 1 and 2 execute evasive pattern Theta. Let's keep them guessing." The other Phoenix ships responded instantly, their movements becoming increasingly unpredictable as their navigational systems evolved in real time, learning from each Vraxian attempt to predict their trajectories. The space between Mars and Earth became a chaotic dance of light and shadow as the 3 Phoenix vessels weaved through the first line of the Vraxian defense, frustrating the aliens' attempts to lock onto them with conventional targeting systems. "We've breached their outer perimeter," West announced, a note of disbelief in her voice. No human ship had penetrated this far into a Vraxian formation before. Secondary defense squadrons moving to intercept. Maya studied the display, noting how the Vraxian fleet was reconfiguring, pulling ships from their carefully organized formation to deal with the unexpected threat. It was working. The rigid Vraxian battle doctrine was being disrupted by an enemy that didn't behave according to any pattern they recognized. "Phoenix 2 is taking heavy fire," Rodriguez warned. The smallest of the three vessels was surrounded by Vraxian cruisers, its adaptive hull glowing bright as it struggled to process multiple weapon types simultaneously. Captain Sato, withdraw to Sector 7 and execute Defense Protocol Alpha, Maya ordered. Draw them away from the flagship approach vector. On the screen, Phoenix 2 spun and accelerated away from its attackers, leaving a trail of what appeared to be debris. But Maya knew better. The debris was actually a swarm of adaptive microprobes, developed from the same technology as the Phoenix hulls. As the pursuing Vraxian ships passed through the cloud, their systems began to register unexpected errors, their weapons cycling through calibration sequences as they tried to lock onto targets that continuously changed their signatures. "It's working," West breathed. "Their coordination is breaking down." It was true. The Vraxian fleet, renowned for its perfect synchronization, was fragmenting into isolated response groups, each trying to adapt to the confounding behavior of the Phoenix vessels using different tactical approaches. But the aliens were far from defeated. A new signal pulsed from the Vraxian flagship, and suddenly all enemy vessels pulled back, creating a clear zone around the Phoenix ships. "They're recalibrating," Maya realized aloud. "Preparing something new." As if in answer to her observation, the space around them lit up with a web of energy, a lattice of intersecting beams that formed a containment grid, cutting off their approach to the flagship. "That's a Concordian isolation field," Rodriguez said, surprise evident in his voice. "It's technology from the Concordian Collective, one of the civilizations the Vraxians conquered." Maya studied the energy pattern, recognizing the trap for what it was. The Vraxians had identified the Phoenix ships as an anomaly and were now deploying one of their assimilated technologies specifically designed to contain unpredictable threats. "They think they've categorized us," she said, a grim smile forming. "Time to show them how wrong they are. All Phoenix vessels initiate Phase 2. Throughout all three ships, secondary systems that had remained dormant until now activated simultaneously. The adaptive hulls, which had been passively learning from each Vraxian weapon they encountered, began to resonate at frequencies that matched and then inverted the Concordian energy grid. "Resonance established," Pato reported. "Counter harmonics generating. The field is destabilizing." The web of energy surrounding them began to flicker and warp as the Phoenix vessels' hulls emitted precisely calibrated interference patterns. It was like watching a precisely tuned musical note shatter a crystal glass, the complex field structure collapsing under forces applied at exactly the right frequencies. With a flash that momentarily blinded their sensors, the containment grid collapsed. Before the Vraxians could respond, all three Phoenix ships accelerated through the gap, now on a direct course for the flagship. "They're adapting again," Rodriguez warned. "Multiple weapon signatures detected. I'm seeing at least 3 different alien technologies powering up." Maya had expected this. They're cycling through their arsenal, trying to find something we can't counter. She opened a channel to the other Phoenix captains. "Implement divergent evolution protocols. Don't just adapt, innovate." This was the true power of the Phoenix project. Not merely reactive adaptation, but creative evolution. Each ship began developing unique responses to the Vraxian weapons, forcing the aliens to split their attention and resources against 3 distinct and constantly changing targets. On the main viewer, Maya could now see the Vraxian flagship, a massive vessel nearly 2 kilometers long, its hull adorned with a trophy-like technological components of conquered civilizations. Surrounding it was a screen of elite guard ships, each powerful enough to destroy a conventional Earth fleet single-handedly. 5 minutes to optimal range for the Quantum Disruptor, West reported. The Quantum Disruptor was the Phoenix Project's final gambit, a weapon theorized, but never built until now, designed to target the command and control systems of the Vraxian flagship by exploiting the quantum entanglement technologies the aliens used for instantaneous communication across their fleet. But first, they had to get close enough to deploy it and survive the most intense defensive fire they had yet faced. "Phoenix 1 has taken critical damage," Rodriguez called out as the guard ships unleashed a coordinated barrage. Captain Levine reports adaptive systems struggling to compensate for multiple simultaneous attacks. Maya watched as Phoenix 1's hull blazed with absorbed energy, its systems pushed beyond design tolerances. "Order Levine to withdraw to minimum safe distance and provide coverage fire. Phoenix 2 and 0 will continue the approach." As Phoenix 1 pulled back, executing a series of random jumps to confuse pursuing vessels, Maya felt the horizon shudder under increasingly precise Vraxian fire. The aliens were learning too, analyzing the patterns in the Phoenix ship's adaptations and adjusting their tactics accordingly. "Hull integrity at 63% and falling," Pato reported, a tremor in her voice as a console beside her exploded in a shower of sparks. "Adaptive recovery rates are slowing. The systems are approaching evolutionary limits." Maya had known this might happen. The Phoenix technology, revolutionary as it was, couldn't evolve indefinitely. Eventually, it would reach a plateau, and the Vraxians would overwhelm it with sheer firepower. "How long until we're in range for the quantum disruptor?" she commanded. 3 minutes, West replied, bracing herself as another hit rocked the ship. "But at current degradation rates, our hull won't last that long." Maya made a split-second decision. Divert all power from defensive systems to propulsion. Rodriguez plotted direct course for the flagship. No evasion. Her crew stared at her in shock. Without the adaptive defenses, they'd be completely vulnerable. "That's suicide, Captain," Rodriguez protested. "No," Maya replied, her voice steady. "It's evolution. The Vraxians expect us to prioritize survival. They'd never encountered an enemy willing to sacrifice themselves to ensure victory." She looked around at her crew, seeing the understanding dawn in their eyes. This is humanity's answer to the Vraxian ultimatum. After a moment of silence, Rodriguez nodded and input the commands. The Horizon surged forward, its defensive systems powering down as all energy redirected to its engines. The ship accelerated at rates that would have torn a conventional vessel apart, streaking toward the Vraxian flagship like a bullet. "Vraxian defenses are reconfiguring," West reported, her voice tight with tension. "They're concentrating all fire on our approach vector." Space around the horizon lit up with the combined firepower of dozens of Vraxian vessels, a storm of energy and projectiles that no ship should have been able to survive. Without its adaptive defenses, the Horizon's hull began to buckle and tear, atmosphere venting from breached compartments. "Hull integrity critical," Patel shouted over the blare of alarms. "Structural collapse imminent." Maya gripped her chair as the ship shuddered violently. "Distance to target?" 30 seconds, Rodriguez answered, working frantically to keep the dying ship on course. "But we're breaking apart, Captain." As if in response to the desperation of its crew, something extraordinary happened. The Horizon's systems, pushed beyond their limits, underwent a final, unexpected evolution. The adaptive hull, rather than trying to defend against the Vraxian assault, began to incorporate the energy signatures of the weapons striking it. The ship's profile in space changed, becoming harder for Vraxian targeting systems to lock onto as it took on aspects of their own technology. "What's happening?" West gasped, staring at the readouts. Patel leaned forward, her eyes wide with understanding. "The adaptive systems are mimicking Vraxian technology signatures. Their weapons are recognizing us as friendly targets." Indeed, the intensity of the Vraxian assault had begun to falter as their automated defense systems struggled to differentiate between the Horizon and their own vessels. 10 seconds to optimal firing range, Rodriguez reported. Maya opened a channel to Phoenix 2. "Captain Sato, execute flanking maneuver Delta. Draw their attention." The remaining Phoenix vessel swooped in from the opposite vector, its systems still fully active, creating the perfect distraction as the mortally wounded Horizon closed the final distance to the Vraxian flagship. "Quantum disruptor ready," Patel confirmed, her fingers dancing across the controls. Maya took one last look at her crew, their faces resolute despite knowing what would come next. "It's been an honor. For Earth." "For Earth," they echoed. Fire. The quantum disruptor activated not with a dramatic explosion, but with an almost gentle pulse that emanated from the Horizon in concentric waves. The effect, however, was anything but gentle. As the waves reached the Vraxian flagship, they interfered with the quantum entanglement field that coordinated the alien fleet. Command signals fragmented, tactical data became corrupted, and the perfect synchronization that made the Vraxians so formidable collapsed into chaos. On the flagship's bridge, Supreme Commander Krex watched in disbelief as his control systems failed one by one, the quantum entanglement network that bound his fleet together unraveling like a cut thread. For the first time in his long career of conquest, he faced an enemy that had turned his own technological superiority against him. The Horizon, its mission complete, began to break apart, the stresses of its final run and the continued Vraxian fire finally overcoming even its remarkable adaptive systems. Maya closed her eyes, prepared for the end. But the end didn't come. "Captain," West exclaimed, "we're being pulled." Maya opened her eyes to see the view screen showing what appeared to be an energy field enveloping the Horizon, stabilizing its failing structure. Beyond it, Phoenix 2 had moved into position, extending its adaptive field to encompass the dying ship. "Phoenix 2 is synchronizing their adaptive systems with ours," Paddle explained, wonder in her voice. They're helping us evolve." The two Phoenix vessels, now linked in ways their designers had never anticipated, began a shared evolution. Phoenix 2 providing the energy and stability, while the Horizon contributed the innovative patterns and it developed during its suicidal run. Around them, the Vraxian fleet was in disarray. Without the coordinating influence of their flagship, individual ships reverted to autonomous operations, their tactics disjointed and ineffective. Some continued to fire the Phoenix vessels, while others retreated to defensive positions awaiting orders that would never come. On Earth, Admiral Zhu and the Security Council watched in amazement as the tactical displays showed the impossible unfolding. The overwhelming Vraxian assault had fractured into isolated pockets of resistance, each operating independently without the hive-mind coordination that had made them so deadly. They're pulling back, an analyst reported, disbelief evident in his voice. The Vraxian vessels are withdrawing from Earth orbit. Rodriguez confirmed the observation on the horizon's damaged sensors, Vraxian ships breaking formation throughout the system. Their command structure appears to be completely disrupted. Maya leaned forward, watching as the Vraxian flagship itself began to retreat, its once perfect formation of guard ships scattered and disorganized. They'd never faced this before, she said quietly. An enemy that could not only match their technological evolution but exceed it. As the Vraxian fleet withdrew beyond Mars' orbit, a transmission came through on all frequencies, not from the aliens, but from Earth. Admiral Zhu's face appeared on the view screen, his expression a mixture of exhaustion and elation. Phoenix 0, Phoenix 2, you've done the impossible. The Vraxian fleet is in full retreat. Earth is safe. He paused, emotion evident in his voice. Captain Chen, your theory was correct. They weren't invincible after all. Maya looked around at her battered bridge, at the crew who had risked everything on the desperate gamble that adaptive evolution could overcome even the most advanced alien technology. No species is invincible, Admiral. The Vraxians conquered 17 civilizations because none of them changed fast enough. We did. In the days that followed, as the Horizon was towed back to Earth for repairs and study, analysis of the battle confirmed what Maya had theorized. The Vraxians' greatest strength, their assimilation of other species' technologies, had become their greatest vulnerability. They had become so dependent on categorizing and countering known technological approaches that they were fundamentally unprepared for an enemy whose technology evolved faster than they could analyze it. More significantly, the quantum disruptor had not just temporarily disabled their command and control systems, it had corrupted the entire foundation of their technological superiority. The Vraxian database of assimilated technologies was now compromised, its perfect catalog of conquered innovations rendered unreliable. 1 month after the battle, Maya stood in the observation lounge of the newly rebuilt Horizon, watching as shipyards throughout Earth orbit worked at a feverish pace to construct more Phoenix-class vessels. Earth was no longer merely defending itself, it was preparing to take the fight to the Vraxian Dominion. The Security Council has approved your proposal, Admiral Zhao said, joining her at the viewport. Operation Firebird will commence as soon as the fleet is ready. We're going to liberate the worlds the Vraxians conquered, starting with the nearest subject races. Maya nodded, her eyes on the ships taking shape in the orbital docks, each one incorporating the lessons learned from the desperate battle for Earth, each one capable of the same adaptive evolution that had confounded the Vraxian tactics. The Vraxians will adapt too, she cautioned. They'll develop new strategies, try to counter our advantage. Of course they will, Zhu agreed. But that's the difference now. We're not trying to match their technology, we're exceeding their rate of adaptation. That's the real victory here. Maya turned away from the viewport to face the Admiral. And the captured Vraxian technologies, the research teams have made progress, remarkable progress. It turns out the adaptive systems you develop can analyze and integrate alien tech even more efficiently than the Vraxians themselves. We're not just learning their secrets, we're improving on them. A small smile crossed Maya's face. The Vraxians had spent millennia conquering and assimilating other civilizations, building an empire on the assumption that technological superiority was an absolute advantage. In a single battle, humanity had proven them wrong. The transmission we intercepted from the Vraxian homeworld suggests they're completely re-evaluating their expansion strategy, Zhao continued. Your theory about psychological impact was correct. They'd never retreated before and never had to consider that their fundamental approach might be flawed. Outside, a newly completed Phoenix-class cruiser fired its engines for the first time, the adaptive hull gleaming with the same iridescent sheen that had developed on the Horizon during its battle with the Vraxians. It was beautiful in a way conventional ships never could be, alive, evolving, becoming more than its creators had envisioned. Just like humanity itself. Admiral, Maya said, her eyes on the new vessel, request permission to lead the first Liberation Fleet. Zhao studied her for a moment, then nodded. Granted. The Horizon will serve as flagship for Operation Firebird. He hesitated, then added, the Vraxians won't expect us to counterattack so soon. They still think in terms of conventional recovery periods. Good, Maya replied, turning back to the viewport. Let's keep surprising them. As night fell over Earth, its people looked up at the stars with something they hadn't felt in months, hope. The Vraxian ultimatum had demanded surrender or extinction. Humanity had offered a third option, evolution. And in the darkness between stars, the Vraxian Dominion faced a question it had never before been forced to consider. What happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? For the first time in 10,000 years, they were about to find out.